All right, get to work. Get to work. I'll be watching you with hawk eyes this whole time, okay? I'm not in the mood to tell you that again, as your one job as the younger wife in this house is to get all the chores done, even while everyone else is here.
Get to work? But there's nothing left for me to do now. I've cleaned up all the dishes, and there isn't anything else to vacuum now. I've gone through all the house and wiped down all the tables, and have gone up to every window and sprayed them and cleaned them in order to let the most light through them. I went and swept the stairs for you, as well as cleaned the kitchen floor and took out all the trash.
Have you gotten around to doing the laundry and all of that?
I finished with the laundry a little while ago. You can even see that everything is all folded up and put into our rooms to be placed away later. And I made sure to change the sheets on the sofa as well. So at this point, there is really nothing left for me to clean or do for you. I can't even think of another thing I could work on that would make any sense at this point.
Are you sure that's how you want to end things? All of the family will be coming here really soon, and you have to make a name for yourself by making this place look spectacularly clean. If there is one thing that they spot and comment on, I am going to make sure you take responsibility for it. Will you be able to do that? It'll be a lot of pressure, and a lot of these people are much more strict than even I am.
Then can you go around and do a quick look over for me to see if there's anything I missed? That way, we can both be on the same page about the cleanliness here, and I won't have to be too worried anymore.
Huh? Does that mean you're not going to be able to take responsibility for yourself? That's what that sounds like to me. Do you not have the confidence where you need me to come around and check everything for you? That is not my job to be doing. You should be more than capable of cleaning and doing chores in this house without having someone like me come around and spot check all of your work.
All right. But this is how things always go with you, Dana. I ask you to check things for me first so that we can avoid conflicts later. But instead, you don't bother to help by doing that, so at some point you can complain about me. It's not that I'm saying you want me to mess up on purpose, but it sure does seem that way at times.
Then if you don't want me to complain about you anymore, do a better job at cleaning what I've asked you to clean. If you can do that for me, then you might actually end up being a good wife for my son.
Are you serious?
I'll have you know that I've been to over 100 different kinds of high-end hotels and have always made comments about the cleanliness of them. So if you can get me to not say a single word about your cleaning, then that means you're doing better than over 100 different hotels are. That should make you happy, right?
What? Over 100 different hotels? Complaining that much about all of their cleanliness just makes you look more like a stuck-up snob than anything else.
You're a real pain in my butt. I think I'm going to have to raise you again since your parents seem to have failed at that. Unlike women nowadays, back when I was first becoming my husband's wife, my mother-in-law pushed me so hard to make sure that I'd be perfect at everything. And now having to see this new generation of wives has left me shocked. I can't believe that all of you just want to sit around all day doing everything so sloppily around the home.
We aren't trying to sit around all day doing nothing, though. At least, I'm not trying to.
I know you all are. I've seen it with my own eyes, time and time again, especially you, Gia. So I'm going to break you down and rebuild you from the ground up, all right? So be ready. It will not be easy, and I'm going to be honest and say that you will cry even more now with me working on you than when you were a baby.
But listen, what's with you putting up that camera in the living room to watch over me all the time? That right there shows me that you're taking this way too far. You're trying to make it really hard for me to have any time to take a break and relax.
You have no right to be allowed a break time in this house. When you are here, you have to work every second of the day making sure this place is spotless and smells like nothing besides detergent. You will not stop working. I'll make sure of it, you useless woman.
Useless woman.
Gia, are you doing all right? I just realized that it looks like you've been working all day to clean. How about you take a moment to sit down and relax a little?
Angie, thank you so much for asking about how I'm doing. But unfortunately for me, I'm not able to take any time off for a break. I was told that I'm a useless woman. And so if I stop doing the chores here, I'll be done for.
What are you talking about right now?
Well, there's a lot that's gone into it, so... But just be aware that for the time being, I can't take any breaks, as it would not end well for me. I'm happy to see that you've noticed me working a lot, but I'm afraid it's going to have to stay this way today.
Does this mean that Dana said something to you that's made you act like that? I know that woman well, and this all seems like something she'd do.
It was something she told me. She told me this is to help retrain me and that this was for my own good so that I can remain a part of this family.
I see. That woman sure is a thing for making sure everyone is the perfect wife for their husband. She's way too old, though, for her to not be embarrassed by the way she acts. Well, listen, Gia, you don't have to worry about a word that woman says to you, and you can take as many breaks as you'd like.
What? Are you sure about that? But...
You've already put in so much work getting all this cleaning done, so it'd be wrong of us to continue to make you work into the afternoon. I'd like you to take a seat with all of us and talk about yourself a little. After all, everyone's come here today to relax and chat.
All right. Thank you so much for checking up on me. It really helps me out a bunch.
By the way, have you brought any of what's been going on here up with Isaiah? Told him about how Dana's trying to work you way too hard? I'm sure he'd have something to say to his own mother, knowing what things she's done to you already.
Not yet. There hasn't been anything yet between her and I that would make me go to him about it yet. Also, Gail is in the middle of a couple projects for work, so he doesn't have time to focus on this. And I don't want to get him all worried about what's going on here with his mom when he needs to be there.
You say that, but I feel as though he seems really worried about you and what you've been up to under the influence of your mother-in-law. I'm sure he realizes that something's up with you, so I really believe that you should bring this all up with him for once.
Of course. You are correct about what my Dana has been doing to me today, and that she has gone a little overboard with it. I will plan on bringing things up with him, or at least doing something that will really get his attention then.
Oh, is that right? I guess I didn't think you'd be willing to try and get his attention after saying you didn't want to disturb him. Well, that makes me feel a little better. I think that you'll be able to do all right then.
I think so too. So please, don't worry too much about me, and trust that I'll be able to handle all of this in one way or another. Go ahead and get back to chatting with everyone else now.
Thank you. I think I will then, but I'll make sure to watch and see how things go for you. You! Where the hell have you gone? Hurry up right now and get back here to get more work done. Plates are beginning to pile up in the sink.
I'm sorry, but I'm at the hospital right now.
Huh? The hospital? You're not some kind of nurse, right? You're a housewife that needs to stay in the home. Why did you think it was important of you to go to the hospital at a time like this?
Even if I'm not a nurse or anything like that, when I'm not doing well, I have the right to go to a hospital, correct? So, let me explain what's happened. I happened to pass out a little after you hit me in the head with that bottle of vodka, and have to go to the hospital to get myself checked out. Are you happy to have your explanation now?
Huh? Why would there ever be a reason for you to be passing out after that? I barely even hit you. And I was only doing it so you could disinfect yourself with the alcohol, you dirty parasite.
Are you kidding? Take a look at the gosh dang sofa that I was sitting on, please. There's vodka all over it still, right? That's because you hit me so hard in the head with the bottle that it actually shattered.
And that's evidence of why it's not okay for you to be sitting on any sofa at all, right? You are a housewife and have work left to do, so there is no way I was going to allow you to slack off.
What is so bad about me taking a second to sit on the sofa? And it's not even like I was sitting down in the same room as all the rest of the people, right?
A wife like you has no right to even a millisecond of sitting time. I already told you all of this before, right? Another thing, why were you showing all of the guests today to that other room in the house? It's because of you showing them to the room all the way on the other side of the house that they've made my job harder by being so far away from the kitchen.
I just assumed since that other room had a much more relaxed vibe to it, it'd be easier on everyone and they wouldn't have to continue sitting on that old couch in the living room.
Well, you made work on yourself only grow even more by doing something like that, right? I've had enough of this, so get your butt back to the house. I need you back here working right now.
Why are you being so strict with your son's wife like this?
I'm doing all of this for your sake is why. Back when I was your age, I had the same thing happen between myself and my mother-in-law, who worked me very hard.
Are you talking about Angie?
That's right. I was given the most strict upbringing by her that any wife has ever had on this planet. And that's why I'm going to make you work as hard as I was forced to.
So this is what all that hard work was about? It's because of your own past that you decided to hit me outside the head with a bottle of vodka and make me pass out?
Oh, shut up. This all has to do with you being a frickin' brat and talking to me like you have any say. You are worse than any other wife, housewife I've known. Why did my sweet little boy have to end up marrying such a useless woman like you? Now you get your butt back to this house. I'm going to make you work as all wives are supposed to.
I told you, it's not going to happen now. I'm in the hospital at the moment to get my head taken care of. Also, why would I ever want to go back to some place where the person who assaulted me is at?
You think that I assaulted you just then? Oh, stop being so overdramatic. I had to make sure to reset your brain after you thought that it was a good idea to take a break while you were cleaning and catering to my family and friends. What the hell do you think you're doing going to a hospital after getting hit in the head with a simple tray? Well, now it's your turn, right? Huh? Hello, Dana. I had a good look at the moment you took that bottle and threw it at Gia's head a little bit ago. Oh, did you? But that's just the way I chose to handle things. I'm not going to listen to anything more from her about being such a victim to my way of treating her. So just understand that, please. All right, then. Well, I wasn't going to say anything about it anyway. Now, the next time we're all coming over will be in 2 weeks, right? I'll see you all again then. Wait, what are you doing? Why do you think you have to punch me now? You want to know why? Because you decided to sit down with the rest of us when you are the wife of this house. I'm the wife. But from my point of view, you are a younger wife than me in this house, therefore you don't get to have any time to take any breaks. You have to work all the time to clean the place up and serve everyone, right? And so far, you've only shown that you're a useless woman. So tell me why you thought it was a good idea to sit on the sofa like that? Oh, wait, that's because... Are you trying to tell me that punching you would be taking things too far? Oh, that's pretty bold of you to say that when just a couple of weeks ago you sent your daughter-in-law to the hospital after hitting her in the head with a bottle of vodka. Well, I didn't do that in front of everyone. I made sure to do that in a place where none of you guys could see it happen. And that's because you knew that if you did something as ridiculous as that in front of everyone else, they'd have some awful things to say about you, right? Well, that's right, right? After all, you did hit her in the head with a darn glass bottle. And you know that no matter what the reason you may have had for that, the rest of us would not forgive you for it. Right? You have no right to be saying things like this about me. And here we go again with that horrible attitude of yours. You really have me thinking once again about your actions. It's like you're back to that same old toxic woman from back in the day. Oh, shut up. You were the one who treated me like crap when you started to train me to be a good wife. You wanted to make sure that a young wife like me back then would be perfect. That's why you treated me so poorly at the house. I'm not going to let you say you forgot about all of that. So, you're trying to say that the reason you're treating Gia so poorly is because that's the way you were treated by your mother-in-law back in the day. That's exactly right. That's a fact. Well, I don't ever remember treating you in any way that was unfair or unjustified back then. I only happened to tell you that you were making mistakes and that you were wrong from a mother's perspective. Nope, you absolutely did not do that. You tried to abuse me back then in order to do everything you'd ask of me. It's probably because of all that stress you had that you'd pick fights with me and bully me. Well, you would go out and spend the family credit card on things that were only meant for yourself and without anyone's permission. And you'd use your husband's company's money to take yourself to all kinds of high-end hotels for weekends, right? You were one of the worst wives ever back then. That has nothing to do with what's going on right now. I think it has every bit of a connection to what's been going on here. You happened to go against everything the family asked you to stop doing back then. What you were doing was laced with problems, and it had to stop. That's the reason for everything that's happened after, right? Have you still not come around to accepting that yet? Oh, you're so annoying. I was still young back then, so stop trying to put all the blame on me for what happened back then. And Gia is the same age now, just about, that you were back when all that was going on, right? I can't do this anymore. I told you to shut up because you're being so annoying right now. An old witch like you needs to shut the hell up already. Jesus Christ. You've fallen right back to where you started. You don't think that you can get away with things now just because you've become friends with that old witch. I promise you I'll destroy that old witch if that's what you really want to see. And then I'll have you trapped with nowhere left to run.
Destroy her?
I meant exactly what I said there. Do you know that she hit me in the head with a tray as well now? And she did that in front of all the family and friends that were gathered here. So I will take her to court and sue her butt.
What? But Dana, you did the exact same thing to me a little while back, right? Do you think it's okay that you're the only one allowed to do things like that?
I was doing it as a way to get you to stop messing around. But that old witch only did it as a way of picking on me in front of everyone.
Your way of getting me to stop? I'm sorry, but that's not the way I saw it when you hit me so hard you lacerated my head. So, if you really are going to be suing Angie over this, then I'm going to sue you for hitting me in the head.
Excuse me, what the hell are you talking about?
Hold on, you have been talking about this the whole time, right?
Well, listen, miss, do you even have evidence of me hitting you in the head with any bottle of vodka?
Are you kidding me?
I never hit you in the head with anything, not even a bottle of anything. Angie may be saying that she saw something like that happen, but in her old age, I'm sure her eyes are not 20/20, right?
I can't believe this. It's like you're not even human anymore. That's how screwed up your head is. Not only are you just an awful mother-in-law, but at this point, I think you're better off being locked up in some asylum for the way you're behaving.
Oh, are you trying to make fun of me now? I'll take you to court as well over something like that.
I'm sure you may have forgotten this, but the room you hit me in the head with that bottle of vodka in happens to be the same room you installed that camera in to watch me. So, that night when I came back to the house, I went and saved all the recording on that camera to my phone. And so, the evidence of you hitting me really hard over the head with that dinner tray, and all the blood that came out of me and me passing out after, is saved on my phone.
So that's why you had all those people at the time moved over to the other room to relax for a bit?
That's right. I was thinking it'd be the best place to do it since you probably wanted to keep all your actions a secret from everyone else. However, I never thought you'd end up assaulting me in any way when I chose to take a small break on the sofa.
Then what about the place that Angie ended up hitting me in the head at?
You had that happen to you back in that other room, where there is no camera installed at. Dana, you keep talking about how someone like Angie hit you in the head the same way as you hit me. But are you sure something like that really took place?
This? You'd better stop messing around. Oh, well, it's all going to be okay. There may be no video evidence, but there were a ton of other bystanders in the room at the time that witnessed what happened to me. I'll ask them all to come and help me, and then I'll have the two of you ruined for the rest of your lives.
And I hope that all goes well for you.
Hey, you. What the hell have you said to Gail about this? Also, when it comes to my husband, did you say something to him as well?
What do you think I said to them?
I'm not here to play games with your stupid butt anymore. I was told by my son just a little bit ago that he wants to cut ties to me forever.
Well, that just happens to be because someone like him does not like the fact that you treated his wife horribly, and even hit her in the head with a bottle of vodka, sending her to the hospital, right? You can relax now because I didn't do or say anything to him that would make him want this.
Oh, stop it with all your bullcrap. Then tell me about my husband then. My husband is asking to get a divorce from me now after what you've done.
And I'd like to think it's for the same reason as Isaiah had. I believe that your husband was on his last leg with you, and what you did to me was the last straw and made him want to jump ship. Dana, I understand that you were going to look for people to back you up over this, but it seems everyone just wants to cut ties with you. Well, that's only natural of all of them. You've been a total jackass this whole time.
What? No matter what you say, this is all your fault. I was just trying to fix you because you are a terrible wife and woman, yet now everyone is trying to leave me. Oh, why me? The only terrible wife in this family is you, Dana. What do you want from me, you old witch? Look at that. The moment people start to do and say things you don't like, you begin to call them bad names, like old witch. You are the one that did many things wrong and are being punished for them, but are too self-centered to even take a moment to reflect on that. I can't believe it, though. You haven't changed one bit from the monster you were in the past. I am speechless. You are always trying to act like you're better than everyone else. Do you think you're the perfect woman? Sure, I'm not perfect, but I sure am better than you. I happen to not be the one with fingers pointed at her for picking on and assaulting her daughter-in-law. Shut up! You've heard about how my son will be divorcing you now, right? In other words, that means you and I will never have to talk to one another ever again. Thank you for what little you offered. Goodbye forever now. What is this? You came all the way out contacting me just to say something as BS as that? If anything, you're the one with a far worse heart than me. Right. After all, I was so bad that you had to start calling me an old witch again. Well, I hate being called something like that, and that's why I am really pissed off with you now. And that's the reason why I will not make things easy for you, and I will make sure that when all is said and done, you will no longer be able to touch my family ever again, and will go rot in hell with the rest of this evil world. Ugh! I've had enough with all of you messing around with me. So with that, goodbye forever.
Dana, can you please stop walking all over outside my house like that? We have all cut ties to you already, so you need to give up and go away.
Why, Gia? Why did you never tell me you were the one paying for the whole family the whole time? And why do you get to have that house now? That house is the place I had been living in for the past 30 years. I'm asking you to please forgive me. Please just let me back into your lives.
As for me paying for a lot of the things this family had been living on, that is true. But you would have never listened to me anyway about it and just assumed that I was lying the whole entire time. So I went ahead and told your husband about it, my father-in-law, and said that if he didn't do something about you, I'd stop paying for him as well. As for the house, that was not the choice I ended up making, Dana. You were the one that lost your husband after he divorced you, and so there's nothing I can do to help get things back to the way they were. Just go back to your parents' house or something to live the rest of your life.
I don't want to, though. I want to be back living in that house with you. I will apologize for everything I did to you, so please forgive me. I am asking you to please help me.
It's not going to happen now. And there's nothing I can do to help you after all the trouble you started. Now, if you are going to continue standing outside our house all day causing us trouble, I'm going to have to call the police and have them take you away.
No. Please don't call the police on me now. I won't do anything to you guys, all right? Okay? I'll go away soon.
Wait. Dana, have you done something bad that might get the police to take interest in you?
No, I haven't done anything wrong. I just don't want to have to deal with the police right now. They scare me. That's why.
Well, I understand there being people that get nervous when they see the police as just a natural thing, but... Dana, if you've done something wrong that they might be after you for, you should just turn yourself in and confess to it.
I told you I haven't done anything wrong, though. So you don't have to worry about me. So with that being said, let me ask you this. Do you think you'll ever be able to forgive me?
Asking me to forgive you? Well, based on what the rest of the family is saying about you, I'd rather not have anything to do with you anymore. So please just understand that and go.
But what if I do seriously change my ways this time and make sure to treat you very well?
The problem is, no matter how many times you try and change yourself to get us to take you back, you'll just start being a complete witch again. After all, you complained to over 100 different high-end hotels about their service and cleanliness. So I'm sure you'll never stop complaining, right? Lol. After the situation with my mother-in-law, Dana, spiraled out of control, I knew I had to take drastic steps to ensure my peace of mind. I had no other choice but to block her phone number, and once I did that, I didn't hear a single thing from her. The silence was a relief, but it didn't last long. Dana, in her usual fashion, continued to show up at our house unannounced, trying to keep tabs on us and what we were doing. It became clear that she wasn't respecting our boundaries, and I had had enough. I couldn't tolerate her intrusions any longer, so in a moment of frustration and finality, I called the police on her. I remember feeling a mix of anger and relief when they showed up. The police took her seriously and warned her about trespassing. And from that day forward, I never had to see her lurking around our house again. It felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. But still, a lingering unease remained. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something deeper going on with her. Something that went beyond just being irritating and overbearing. Maybe she was involved in something shady. Or perhaps her actions were driven by something more serious. My worries lingered as I sat in front of the television one evening, mindlessly flipping through channels. Then, a news story caught my attention. The reporter was talking about a recent arrest that had made headlines in our town. And as the story unfolded, my heart sank. It was Dana. She had been arrested by the police. The reason for her arrest was the last thing I expected. Apparently, Dana had been involved in purse snatching, going around town and swiping items from people's purses. The police had discovered that she was selling the stolen goods to pawn shops in exchange for quick cash. I couldn't believe it. Dana, who I had once tried to care for and include in my life, had resorted to such low and dishonest behavior. I had always known she had her flaws, but this was a new low. But that wasn't all. As if her criminal activities weren't enough, it turned out Dana was also driving around with an expired driver's license. This only added fuel to the fire. And her actions made everything worse. How could someone who had been in my life act so recklessly and carelessly? It was hard to comprehend how things had spiraled so far out of control for her. At that moment, I couldn't help but feel a strange sense of satisfaction mixed with disbelief. I couldn't deny that a part of me found it almost poetic that she was caught and arrested. After all, she had caused me so much grief and stress over the years, and now the universe had found a way to deal with her. I wasn't the one who had to confront her anymore. She was facing the consequences of her own actions. Once Dana was taken to court, the repercussions were swift. She was ordered to pay a hefty settlement to the victims of her purse-snatching spree. They had to be compensated for the emotional and financial damage her actions had caused. Additionally, Dana was slapped with a fine for driving with an expired license. Her life seemed to be falling apart before her eyes. And I couldn't help but think it was well-deserved. Dana had always been someone who felt entitled, who expected others to take care of her. Now, she was facing the harsh reality of having lost everything. Her freedom, her reputation, and her money. It seemed like her downward spiral had no end in sight. She had nowhere to go, no one left to turn to, so she made the decision to leave town. She returned to her hometown, hoping to find refuge with her older sister. I had hoped, maybe naively, that this might be the turning point for Dana. Maybe, just maybe, she would use this time away from us to reflect on her actions and start over. Perhaps her sister and her family would be the support system she needed to get her life back on track. But, as it turned out, my hopes were misplaced. Just a month after moving in with her sister, things had taken a turn for the worse. Dana, unable to resist her old habits, began to steal from her sister. She started pawning her sister's belongings, taking advantage of her kindness and hospitality. When her sister caught on, she was furious. She confronted Dana, but it only escalated the situation. Her sister's husband, understandably upset, intervened and forced Dana out of the house. Dana, ever the manipulator, tried to plead with them, begging to come back in. She even stood outside their house in nothing but a bathrobe, desperate and humiliated. But her sister and her husband were no fools. They knew better than to let Dana back in after everything she had done. They knew that she would just continue to take advantage of them, just as she had done with everyone else. This time, they did the right thing. They called the police again. When Dana was taken into custody, it was clear that she was in denial about the consequences of her actions. This time, however, the law didn't go easy on her. The court wasn't as lenient as before, and Dana was sentenced to 6 months in jail for theft. The sentence hit her hard. I'm sure it was a shock to her system, but it was also long overdue. Dana had spent so much of her life skating by on other people's generosity, never facing any real consequences for her actions. Now, the reality of her situation was sinking in, and it caused her to break down completely. I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions as I watched everything unfold from a distance. Part of me felt pity for her, but another part of me couldn't ignore the fact that she had brought this upon herself. I wondered if this second stint in jail would finally be the wake-up call Dana needed. Would it be enough to make her change her ways, to help her understand the damage she had caused? Or would she continue down this destructive path until it was too late? As much as I had hoped for Dana to turn her life around, I couldn't let her affect my family anymore. Since the day Dana was kicked out of our house, my life had become so much more peaceful. I felt like I could finally breathe again. My husband and my father-in-law had been a great support system, and together we had created a safe, stable environment. I had taken on the role of housewife, and for the first time in a long time, I was enjoying the calmness of my everyday life. One person who had really helped me through the worst of the situation was Angie. She had always been there for me, standing by my side when things with Dana became unbearable. I will always be grateful for her strength and loyalty. After everything that had happened, I wanted to thank her in some way. So I continued to invite her over to visit, along with the rest of the family and friends. However, this time, things were different. I didn't feel the need to work myself into exhaustion. Instead, I made it a point to sit back and relax, enjoying the company of those around me. It was a relief not to be constantly on edge, wondering when Dana would show up again or what new trouble she would cause. Now, I could simply enjoy life for what it was, a simple, peaceful existence that I had worked hard to create. And while I didn't expect Dana to change overnight, I couldn't help but hope that she would eventually find the strength to turn her life around. I knew, however, that it would take more than just time to heal. She would have to confront the reality of her actions. The damage she had caused and the relationships she had ruined. Only then would she truly be able to move forward. For now, all I could do was focus on my own family and the life we were building together, one step at a time. In the months that followed Dana's second arrest and her time in jail, things began to settle down further. There were moments when I found myself reflecting on everything that had happened, trying to make sense of it all. How did it all spiral so quickly? How did the woman I once tried to build a relationship with end up in such a mess? I couldn't help but ask myself those questions over and over again. But in the end, I realized that Dana had made her own choices. Every step she took toward her downfall had been hers and hers alone. At first, it felt like a betrayal. To see someone I had tried to care for, to support, turn against me and others. She'd manipulated me, made me feel guilty for things that weren't my fault, and caused so much emotional and financial distress. It was exhausting, but over time, I came to understand that it wasn't really about me. It wasn't about her wanting to hurt me. It was more about her own deep-rooted issues and the choices she made in trying to escape from her problems, no matter the cost. I had been a target, but I wasn't the cause. It was her inability to face her own demons that led her to lash out in harmful ways. Despite all the pain she caused, I couldn't completely turn off the part of me that still hoped for her redemption. I wondered if, with enough time and enough consequences, Dana could find her way back. I wasn't blind to the fact that people could change. But it had to be done on their own terms. Nobody could force her to face the truth, least of all me. It was something she had to come to realize on her own. In the meantime, I focused on my family, the people who had never abandoned me and had been supportive through the entire ordeal. My husband and father-in-law, despite all the stress that Dana had put us through, remained constant and calm. We had built a solid foundation together, and as a family, we were stronger than we had ever been. There were no more secrets, no more fears of what Dana might do next, and that sense of stability was a relief. It also gave me a chance to reflect on my own life. Becoming a housewife had given me a sense of peace that I never thought I would have again. I had always been someone who sought stability, someone who wanted to feel secure and at home. Dana had disrupted that for so long that it almost felt foreign to me to have it back. There were days when I found myself waking up and feeling a sense of calm wash over me, realizing I wasn't constantly worried about her or the chaos she would bring. Angie remained one of the most important people in my life. The way she had supported me when Dana's presence was unbearable showed me just how strong our bond was. I often thought about how lucky I was to have a friend like her, someone who would drop everything to help me when I needed it most. It wasn't just about Dana, though. Angie had always been there for me, long before any of this happened, and our friendship had only deepened over the years. I realized how important it was to surround myself with people who genuinely cared about me, who would help me navigate the challenges that life threw my way.
Brad, have you prepared everything for the move?
What? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean, what? You need to get ready for the move before your university entrance ceremony. You've rented that apartment near the university, right? It's a nice place, and we've already paid for it. You need to finish packing and get everything ready to go. I can't do it for you, Brad. It's your responsibility now. So if you haven't already, start making those cardboard boxes up and throwing all the things you need into them to take.
Ugh, seriously? What makes you think you can lecture me like that? Got no right to talk to me like that.
Brad, what is going on with you? You've been acting so distant lately. Well, I can still help out if you need it. I don't mind lending a hand with the move, you know. I'm happy to do it for you.
No, just leave me alone. I don't need your help.
What do you mean, leave you alone? I'm your mom. You're about to go to university. This is a big moment for you. Why wouldn't I help?
I told you already. Don't come near the new house. Stay out of my life.
Wait, what? Why would you say that? I'm just trying to help, Brad. I want to make this transition as easy as possible for you.
I said don't come. It's my house now. You're not allowed to be involved. Just stay away.
Wow, didn't expect you to say that. I know you're going through a lot, but to hear you talk like that is really hurtful. Are you sure you don't want me to help in any way?
You're acting like I'm some kind of burden. Seriously, being ridiculous.
I'm not saying that at all, Brad, but it seems like there's something deeper bothering you. I can't help if you don't open up to me. What is going on? Why do you keep pushing me away like this?
Can't you get it? I'm a student at the best medical school in the country. The hardest one to get into. You even understand how difficult that is? Did it on my own with no special treatment. I made it in. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to achieve something big, something you could never understand.
I understand. I know how hard it is to get into a school like that, and I am proud of you, Brad. You've worked so hard. I just want you to know that I'm here for you no matter what.
Yeah, you should be proud of me. Going to be an elite doctor. The kind of person who's going places. You have no idea what it's like to be someone who's successful. I've worked my whole life for this, and it's finally happening.
Well, that's wonderful, Brad. I'm really happy for you. You deserve it, but still, why are you acting like this towards me?
And look at you. You're nothing. You're just a high school dropout who hasn't achieved anything. You don't even have a real education. I don't even know why you're still in my life. You're nothing but a burden.
Wait, what? What are you saying, Brad? I've been there for you since you were a child. I may not have had the same opportunities as you, but I've always done my best to help you and give you everything I could. How could you say that?
It's the truth. You're a failure, and I can't even believe that I'm related to you. Frankly, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that you've been part of my life.
This isn't fair. You think I've been a failure? Just because I didn't go to university doesn't mean I'm worthless. I worked hard every day to support you. I've given everything I could to raise you, and now you're turning your back on me?
Maybe I wouldn't mind if it was just the way that it was, but no, you're not just a mother figure. You're a fake. You weren't even my real mother. Dad and I decided that once I got into university, we'd tell you. We figured you'd accept the truth, but this whole thing, this is way worse than I thought.
I know that I'm not your biological mother, Brad, but that doesn't mean I didn't love you like my own. From the moment I met you, I took care of you, I raised you. I've been there every step of the way. How can you say that to me now? After everything?
Yeah, I accepted it. I finally realized that you're not even my real mom. I'm Dad's kid, but I'm not your kid, and I'll never be your kid. That's the truth, and I'm telling you now.
No, Brad, I raised you. I took care of you when you couldn't even walk. I gave up so much for you. I never expected to hear you say this.
Well, maybe you were good for that when I was little, but now that I'm older, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to live my life with Dad, and we'll be just fine. We'll be just the two of us. You're just a high school dropout. You're not part of this family anymore. Don't even think about coming to my entrance ceremony. I don't want you there. You don't belong there.
What? No, Brad, please don't say that. I've been waiting for this moment. I've been looking forward to seeing you walk into that ceremony, to see you dressed up, to see you finally achieve something great. How can you take this away from me?
What are you, stupid? You really don't get it, do you? The entrance ceremony is going to be full of elite people. Doctors, lawyers, rich families. What do you think will happen if they find out that my mom is a high school dropout? How am I supposed to show my face? It's embarrassing. It'll ruin everything.
Brad, that's too much. I've supported you your whole life. I've been there for you through thick and thin, and now you're treating me like this?
What do you want me to say? You're just some nobody who raised me. I'm going to be surrounded by elites. You really think I want them to know about you? No, I don't need you at that ceremony. Don't even think about coming. If you show up, I'll make sure you regret it.
I don't deserve this. I've done everything I could. I raised you as my own, and this is how you repay me?
Stop acting like I owe you something. You're a nobody. You don't even belong in this world. You've never been on my level. Now that I don't need you anymore, you're out of my life. You're disposable. It's as simple as that. Stay away from me. Stay away from my life. Got it?
Rebecca, I'll be back from work soon. Is there anything you need? I can stop by the store on my way back.
Well, not really. There's nothing specific I need today.
How about Brad? Is he getting everything ready for the move? I'm sure he's got a lot to do.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. I guess he's sort of ready. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm sure he's got it covered.
But, after everything that's happened, it really feels like we're finally becoming a family. I know it might sound strange, but it feels different now, in a good way.
Family? What do you mean family? What's going on?
Well, I was finally able to tell him everything I've been hiding from him for so long. I was really worried about how he'd react, but thankfully, he took it really well. He accepted everything without a problem, which was a huge relief for me.
Oh, I see. So you finally told him what you've been holding back for all this time? That's great.
Yes, exactly. And Brad, he really understood, which was a huge weight off my shoulders. We've been through a lot, but now it feels like we can move forward.
So, do you think now's the right time to tell him about the other thing? The one thing we've been avoiding?
What do you mean? Oh, you mean that thing. Well, I don't really think we need to talk about it right now. It doesn't seem that important. Brad doesn't need to know about it. It's not going to change anything.
But don't you think it would be good for him to know? We are family now, aren't we? Don't we need to be open and honest with each other, especially when it comes to important things? I think he deserves to know, don't you?
Look, it's not that I don't agree with you. It's just, sometimes some things are better left unsaid, don't you think? I just don't want it to add any more unnecessary stress, especially after everything we've already been through.
I understand where you're coming from, but I feel like we need to trust each other completely. We're supposed to be a team, right? We've always supported each other, and I think it's time we trust Brad with everything, even the things that might be hard to hear.
You're right. We are family. And you've been here for me through everything. Even though you've had your own struggles, you've worked so hard to make sure everything's okay for both of us. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
It hasn't been easy, but having you here has made all the difference. I feel so much better knowing we're in this together.
And you know what? Even with everything that's happened, I'm just happy we're finally starting to build something together. It feels like we're finally on the right path.
I'm really glad you feel that way, because I've been thinking about something too. I've been considering going with you to Brad's entrance ceremony. I know it's important to him, and I don't want to miss it. I want to be there to support him, but there's only one thing that's been on my mind lately.
What do you mean? Is something wrong? Did something come up?
No, it's not that. It's just Brad told me that he didn't want me to come to the ceremony.
Wait, what? Why? Is it because we're not related by blood?
Well, yeah, that's part of it. But I think it's also because of his feelings about my education. You know how he feels about that kind of thing.
I can't believe he would say that. That is really unfair. I'm going to have a serious talk with him. He doesn't understand how important this is.
No, don't. It's not like that. I don't want you to get involved. I just need you to understand what I'm feeling. It's been hard, but I don't want this to come between us. I just need some time to figure things out. I know this is important to Brad, but I don't think it's the right time for me to go. I just don't want to make things harder than they already are.
But you've always been there for me, and I'm not going to let anything come between us, especially not now.
I know, and I'm so grateful for that. It's just sometimes I feel like I'm not really a part of this family, you know? Like I don't fit in because of all the things that have happened.
I understand, but we're in this together now, no matter what. You're part of this family. We'll get through this, okay?
I hope so. I really do. Brad, regarding the entrance ceremony, do you still think I shouldn't go? I really want to see your big day.
I told you, no way. My entrance ceremony is a sacred event, okay? It's not a place for someone like you, who barely finished middle school, to step foot into.
When you were still little, Frank and I got married. You are my child. We've been together since you were young. Please, don't say I'm just a stranger to you.
Don't joke around. Are you trying to leech off me like this?
Leech? What do you mean by that?
You're planning on taking my earnings from being a doctor and living a comfortable life, right? You really think I'll let you do that?
Why do you hate me so much? Is it because we're not blood related? Because I didn't tell you sooner?
No, it's not just that. I hate you and your useless family.
Useless? Are you talking about me being a middle school dropout?
Of course. This world runs because of the elites. You lower-class people are only living off of the success of the elites.
Don't talk like that. I've been doing my best in my own way, too.
No matter how hard a lower-class person tries, they can never reach an elite. The one who raised me and took care of everything was my father.
But I worked, too. I earned money.
That's just pocket change. It doesn't matter whether it's there or not. And you should divorce Frank. Get out of my family.
Wait just a minute. I'll admit, I can understand that you hate me. I get that you don't want me at the entrance ceremony. But why do I have to divorce Frank? Why are you demanding that?
It's because of you. You've been living off his money for so long, and now you want more. And I've decided that I'm going to marry the daughter of a CEO or from an elite family. If they find out my mother is a middle school dropout, the engagement might be off. That's why I'm telling you to divorce him.
Fine. I have put up with so much for your sake. I thought I could do anything for you. But I can't take it anymore. I won't put up with this anymore.
So it's settled. You're not coming to the entrance ceremony, right?
Yes.
Good. That's fine with me.
I don't care what happens from here on out.
So, the entrance ceremony is starting now. You didn't just show up at the school on your own, right?
I haven't done anything like that. I'm at home right now. Do you want me to send you a photo for proof?
Really? I don't need that. I'll be coming home once in a while, so when I do, you better serve me properly. Keep my room clean too. I'll let the divorce slide, but you should at least do that much for me.
Well, I'll do what I can, I guess.
Fine, I'll send you a picture of the ceremony. I'll show you what an elite entrance ceremony looks like.
I don't need any of that.
Oh, is that so? Well, whatever. Take care. Hey, what the hell is going on here?
What? What's wrong now?
I couldn't attend the entrance ceremony. I went to the office and asked them what happened, and they told me that my admission was canceled.
Oh, I see. Well, that's unfortunate.
Don't pretend you don't know what's going on. They said it was because the entrance fee wasn't paid. I bet you're the one behind this. You've always been the one handling all the family finances. What are you going to do about this?
Well, yes, I didn't pay the fee, but why are you getting so upset over this?
Of course I'm upset. The money that was supposed to be used for my entrance fee came from Dad's hard work. And you didn't use it for that, did you? You probably took it and used it for your own purposes. Don't think I don't know.
I think you're misunderstanding the situation here.
What are you talking about? What's the misunderstanding?
The truth is, I'm the one who earned the money for your entrance fee.
What? What are you saying? That entrance fee was $20,000. There's no way you, a high school dropout, could have earned that much money.
Yes, I'm a high school dropout, but I've been working since I was very young and have had a lot of experiences. I taught myself Chinese, and now I can speak it fluently. I've used that skill, along with my work experience, to become the top sales performer at my company. I earn more money than a lot of university graduates.
Wait, really? I never knew any of this.
We had an agreement with Frank that we wouldn't discuss work-related matters at home. That's why I never mentioned anything about my job to you before.
But still, Dad earns money too. He went to a prestigious university. There's no reason for you to pay for my entrance fee. You should have asked him, not spent your own money.
Well, the thing is, Frank's company has been struggling for years. He's had his salary reduced year after year, and because of that, it was impossible for him to pay for your entrance fee.
You've got to be kidding me. That doesn't make sense. Dad graduated from a famous university. He's an elite. There's no way you're telling the truth. You're lying.
I'm not lying. I really wish I were, but this is the truth. Things have been difficult for a long time now.
Enough with the lies. I'm going to tell Dad everything. He's been waiting for today's entrance ceremony, and you've ruined it. After this, you're going to be kicked out of the house. You better start packing your things, because you're not going to have a place here anymore.
I don't think that's going to happen, though.
What do you mean? Don't you see how serious this is? You've ruined everything, and now I'm going to have to deal with it. Don't you dare come near me again.
I don't think you fully understand the situation here. I don't think Frank will get so upset. It's not like it's the end of the world. I think you're overreacting.
Overreacting? Are you kidding me right now? Do you realize the mess you've caused? How do you expect me to just accept this?
I'm not asking you to accept it. I'm just saying that we're doing the best we can under the circumstances. I never wanted to ruin anything for you, and I've been doing my best. But things didn't work out the way we planned. That's just the reality of it.
But this is a big deal. You've ruined my chances of going to college. Do you even understand what that means? This is something I've worked hard for, and you've taken that away from me. Dad, my enrollment got canceled.
I see.
Do you understand why? They said the tuition fee wasn't paid. Mom took the money that was supposed to be for my tuition and used it for herself. This is the worst. You can't just let this slide, can you? How can you forgive her for something like this?
But that money was your mother's.
Huh? Is that really true?
It's true. When you told me that you were going to become a doctor and go to medical school, I was already struggling with money. It was hard to admit, but I thought about it seriously. I almost told you to give up on medical school. I thought it was impossible, but at that time, your mother said she would take care of it herself. She said she would handle everything with her own earnings, and she would make sure all your living expenses after entering school were covered. She told me that she would fully support you. She offered to help with everything, and I reluctantly agreed to let her take the lead in supporting you.
But in the end, she didn't pay the tuition. I'm sure this was her plan all along. She made me study, got me into school, and then pulled this cruel trick not paying the tuition just to mess with me. She's been manipulating me the whole time.
Why would Rebecca do something like that?
She couldn't accept it. The thought that I, who was just a high school graduate, would become an elite doctor. She couldn't bear the idea that I'd succeed. She's just a high school dropout herself, and she couldn't stand the idea of me becoming more successful than her.
That's not it. You've misunderstood.
How can you say that?
Your mother never wanted to hinder you. She went through a hard time herself. You know that her father's business failed, and because of that, she couldn't go to high school. She never wanted that kind of hardship for you. That's why, when you said you wanted to go to university, she said she would support you fully. She said she would take care of the tuition and the cram school fees. She paid $700 a month for the tutoring, and she even covered $2,000 for the summer course. She made those sacrifices to ensure that you had the best chance of succeeding. How could she be trying to sabotage you when she was making all these efforts for you?
But it still happened.
That's because you pushed Rebecca away. You called her a high school dropout and treated her like she wasn't even part of this family. You disrespected her so much. That's why she didn't pay the tuition. It's not that she didn't want to, it's because you shut her out.
Dad knew about this?
Of course I knew. I'm not blind, you know. I know everything, and you also insulted her by calling her a parasite. Do you really think I could stand by and let you treat your own mother like that? I've had enough of your disrespect and arrogance. I told you not to show your face in front of your mother, but I've had it. I don't want to see you anymore. In fact, I don't want you coming back to this house again either.
But you don't understand. You're not listening to me. You don't know what it's like to be in my shoes. You don't know how hard I worked for this. Mom just took everything from me without any regard for what I wanted. I studied so hard. I passed the exams, and all I wanted was to succeed. Now I'm just thrown away because of this. She took everything away, and now there's nothing left for me.
You think I don't understand? You think I don't know what it's like to struggle? You think I don't know what it's like to sacrifice everything for your future? I worked hard too, you know. And Rebecca, your mother, didn't just take things from you. She gave you everything she had to make sure you had the best chance possible. She went through all of this to support you because she wanted you to succeed. But you were too proud to see that. You turned your back on her, and now you're blaming her for everything that's gone wrong.
That's not what's going on here. It's not the same. You don't understand what I went through. You think it's all just about money in school, but it's about more than that. I put in the effort. I was dedicated. Now everything is ruined because of her.
It's not ruined because of her. It's ruined because of you. You pushed her away. You disrespected her. And now you're blaming her for your own failure. You really think that's fair?
I don't care anymore. I don't need your advice. I don't need anyone's help. I'm done with all of you. You've all ruined my future, and there's nothing I can do about it anymore.
You've made your choice, and I've made mine. If you really want to throw everything away, then that's on you. But just know this. I'm done with you. You're not welcome here anymore.
Damn it. I've lost contact with Dad.
Frank was really angry, so it can't be helped.
I can't believe you were paying for things like the entrance fees and everything else.
I didn't actually pay the entrance fees. In the end, it wasn't me.
So that was your plan all along, huh?
It wasn't a plan. You said I was just a stranger to you. It's strange to pay the entrance fees for a stranger, don't you think?
So, what are you going to do now? Dad said he doesn't want you coming back to the family home.
Yeah, we discussed this, and we decided to cut ties with you. Of course I'm not going back to the family home, and don't contact me anymore. Even if you do, we'll just ignore you.
So, you're serious about this, huh?
Yes, I am. Isn't this what you wanted?
I didn't want to be cut off from Dad.
But Frank decided he couldn't accept you after you rejected me.
Yeah, looks like it. In the end, Dad chose you instead of me. So what? I don't have a family anymore. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, that's about all there is to it.
From now on, I'll make it on my own as an elite. Don't come crying to me later.
Oh, right. Your entrance to the university was canceled, wasn't it?
It's fine. I'll just take the entrance exam again next year. And this time, I'll pass. I've already passed once, so it's easy. A 1-year delay? People like me, elites, can easily make up for that.
Is that so? Quite the confident statement.
You all better not get involved with me from now on. I'll climb up on my own.
Of course. I promise we won't interfere with you.
Well, see ya.
But there's one thing I want to ask you.
What is it?
Just because you passed this time doesn't mean you'll pass the same university again, right? The same problems won't come up?
Of course. The difficulty is the same, so if I keep studying, I'll pass again next year.
I see, but that sounds tough, huh? Continuing to study for a whole year?
It's not tough at all. I've been doing it all along, you know. What have you been watching?
But it's different from before, isn't it? Now you'll have to pay for your living expenses. You'll have to earn that, do the housework properly, and study, right? I think that's going to be really tough, especially since you've always relied on me until now.
Living expenses? What do you mean by that?
Well, I already paid for the initial cost of the rent, so you don't have to worry about that. But from now on, you'll have to pay for your own rent and utilities.
I have to?
Yes, you'll need to work part-time, manage your living, and still study. Oh, and don't forget about the $20,000 entrance fee. Seems like it's going to be hard for someone with only a middle school education to earn that. Do you think someone like you with just a high school diploma can save that much money in 1 year?
Well, just for 1 year, I was thinking maybe you could help me out.
Are you asking for help when we're not even family anymore? How strange.
No, but we're family, right?
When it's convenient for you, you want to consider me family? Stop that. Family isn't something you can just treat so lightly.
Well, I'm going to become a doctor, and I'll repay my mom for everything.
Mom? You mean the person who abandoned you? I'm not your mother. I'm Frank's wife, not your mother, and I don't think you're suited to be a doctor either.
What do you mean?
Because I wouldn't want to entrust my life to someone who judges people based on their titles like elite or middle school graduate. I want a doctor who treats everyone equally, no matter who they are. That's why I don't want you to become a doctor.
How was Brad?
He seemed really down. Looks like he finally realized how tough things are going to get from here on out.
I'm sorry. You've sacrificed so much for him up until now.
It's fine. I did it for the family. I have no regrets. I don't even regret the decision to separate from Brad because I have you now.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Now that we've saved the $20,000 for the entrance fee, how about we take a trip abroad soon?
Yeah, let's do that.
After Brad had his university entrance canceled, he decided to begin living on his own. The decision to live independently was a significant turning point in his life, one that marked the beginning of a new chapter, but also a difficult and overwhelming one. Until that point, Brad had always relied on the support of his parents, never truly understanding what it meant to live independently. The idea of moving out and taking care of everything on his own seemed like an exciting opportunity to grow and become more responsible, but the reality of the situation turned out to be much more challenging than he had anticipated. Initially, Brad felt a sense of freedom when he moved out. No more rules from his parents, no more restrictions on what he could or couldn't do. He felt like an adult who could finally take charge of his own life. However, as time went on, the challenges of living alone began to weigh on him. The first thing that hit him was the overwhelming responsibility of managing all his expenses. Living at home, he had never had to worry about rent, utility bills, or grocery shopping. Now he found himself facing these everyday tasks head-on. The pressure was overwhelming, and he quickly realized that he was not as prepared as he thought he was. Brad tried to manage his finances as best he could. To make ends meet, he got a part-time job. The job helped him cover some of the basics, such as food and transportation, but it was far from enough. Rent was a constant worry, and every month he had to scramble to figure out how to pay for it. The job was physically exhausting and took up a lot of time, leaving him little energy to focus on his studies. Despite his best efforts, he couldn't keep up with everything. At first, Brad thought he could handle the burden of living on his own. He believed that the part-time job would be enough to cover his costs, and he convinced himself that he could manage his schoolwork and household chores at the same time. But as the days turned into weeks, the reality of his situation began to sink in. The financial strain was beginning to take its toll. The rent and bills were stacking up, and despite his best efforts, he couldn't keep up with the expenses. Desperate to make ends meet, Brad took out a loan. The loan allowed him to pay his rent and buy some essentials, but it also brought him further into debt. The cycle of borrowing money to pay for basic living expenses continued. Every month, Brad would borrow more money, only to find himself even deeper in debt. This situation was not sustainable, and he knew it. However, he felt trapped. He had no other option but to keep borrowing and hope that things would eventually improve. Unfortunately, they did not. As the months went by, Brad's financial situation became increasingly dire. Unable to afford his rent, he moved into a cheaper apartment. The new apartment was far from ideal. It was small, cramped, and in poor condition. The plumbing was faulty, the heating barely worked, but it was all he could afford. Despite the lower rent, Brad's financial situation did not improve. In fact, it seemed to get worse. The bills kept piling up, and he struggled to keep up with the basic costs of living. The stress of trying to balance work, school, and household chores began to take a toll on Brad's mental health. He was exhausted from juggling so many responsibilities. His job was taking up more time than he had anticipated, leaving him a little time to study for his classes. His academic performance began to suffer, and he found himself falling behind. The dream of completing his degree seemed further and further out of reach. The situation worsened when Brad realized that he simply couldn't continue working and studying at the same time. The stress was too much to handle, and he had no energy left to focus on his studies. And the constant pressure to keep up with his job and his financial obligations was overwhelming. Eventually, Brad made the difficult decision to quit his part-time job. Without the job, he no longer had any source of income. The rent continued to be due, and his debts were mounting. He found himself trapped in a cycle of borrowing money, paying bills, and borrowing more money just to stay afloat. It seemed like there was no way out. Despite his best efforts, Brad's situation continued to deteriorate. Without a job, he had no way to pay for his rent or other expenses. His debt continued to grow, and he was living in constant fear of the debt collectors who would soon be coming after him. He had never experienced anything like this before. He had always relied on the support of his parents and never had to worry about money. But now he was facing the harsh reality of living alone, and it was a reality he was not prepared for. Brad's financial situation became increasingly desperate. He continued to borrow money just to cover the basics. The stress of living with constant debt began to take a serious toll on his health. He was unable to sleep, constantly worrying about how he was going to pay for the next bill. The once exciting idea of living independently had turned into a nightmare. Brad had never fully understood the responsibility that came with independence, and now he was learning the hard way. Meanwhile, on the other side, our lives were moving forward. After Brad's situation started to unravel, we decided to move into a new home together. It was a fresh start for us, a chance to build a new life without the stress and pressure that had weighed us down in the past. It was also the first time we would be living together as a couple, and it felt like a new beginning. We were both excited about the possibilities and the future that awaited us. Moving in together was not without its challenges. It was a big change, and there was a lot to adjust to. We had to figure out how to split the responsibilities, how to manage the household finances, and how to make the most of our new space. But despite the challenges, we felt like we were on the right path. For the first time in a long time, we felt in control of our lives. Living together was also a chance for us to focus on building a future. We no longer had to worry about the stress of living apart or dealing with the complications of our previous living situations. Our new home was a place where we could grow together and create a life full of possibilities. The future was bright, and we were excited to see where it would take us. In contrast, Brad was still struggling. I couldn't help but think about him often. He was stuck in a vicious cycle of debt and despair, and it seemed like there was no way out. The choices he had made had led him down this difficult path, and now he had to face the consequences. It was hard not to feel sorry for him, but at the same time, I knew that it wasn't our responsibility to fix his life. He had to take ownership of his situation and figure out how to move forward on his own. We had made the decision to leave the past behind and focus on our future. Brad, however, was still stuck in the past, struggling to break free from the consequences of his own actions. We had both made choices, and now we were dealing with the results of those choices. While I felt sympathy for Brad, I knew that I couldn't go back and change the decisions that had been made. We had to move forward, and I had to let him find his own way. As we settled into our new life, I couldn't help but reflect on how far we'd come. We had made it through the difficult times, and now we were building a life together. I was proud of the steps we had taken and felt confident that we were on the right track. Brad, on the other hand, had to find his own way. His journey was his own, and I knew that he would have to face the consequences of his actions just as we had faced the consequences of ours. Our lives were moving in different directions. We were building a future together while Brad was still trying to find his footing. It was difficult to watch, but at the same time, I knew that we had made the right decisions to focus on our own future. We had worked hard to get where we were, and we were determined to make the most of our new beginning. Brad, however, had to figure out how to rebuild his life from the ground up. It wasn't easy, but it was something he had to do on his own. As we continued to settle into our new home, I couldn't help but feel a sense of peace. We were starting fresh with no more worries about the past. Our future was in our hands, and we were ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. Brad, however, would have to find his own way. His future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. He would have to learn the hard way that independence came with responsibilities, and he would have to face those responsibilities head on. As time passed, we found ourselves growing closer. Our relationship deepened, and we began to make plans for the future. We discussed our hopes and dreams, and we made commitments to support each other through whatever challenges life would throw at us. We knew that life would not always be easy, but together we felt confident that we could face anything. Brad, on the other hand, was still struggling to find his footing. I could sense his pain and frustration, but I also knew that he needed to take responsibility for his actions. He couldn't continue blaming others for his problems. He had to learn to face his mistakes and take control of his life. Despite everything, I couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness for him. He was lost, and it seemed like no one could help him. But deep down, I knew that the only person who could help Brad was himself. He had to face the truth and take responsibility for the life he had created. Only then could he begin to rebuild and move forward.